Pybus. How are
Derek
you?
Doyle, how are you doing?
I'm very good. I'm very good.
What do you drink?
What do I drink? How do you mean? How do you mean?
I owe you a beer.
You do, absolutely. We will get back to that in a second, I'm sure. I think you actually owe me lots of beer when it comes down to it.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, lots of it. I was actually thinking before we set this up, I can't actually. Did we start talking to each other just socially through a podcast? Was it Thor?
It's Thor's fault for having such
Many things are Thor's fault.
a bad hat.
A bad hat.
He did some sort of cast with, or it's not cast, a podcast thingy with a red hat on that looked quite suspect, and we both took the piss out of it.
I think it was his Crux Cast. He had a cowboy hat on at the start. Was it
no,
not?
No,
it was before that. Yes, it was before that.
He had a red baseball cap on.
So he did. And we connected through that, and we've been sort of backwards and forwards ever since.
Mutual interest in mountain biking.
Mutual interest in mountain biking. But as we've just been discussing off air, my cardio has plummeted through the floor, and I'm terrified to go mountain biking with you because you look like a bit of a racing snake.
Well, no. It's okay if it's downhill. Don't do the uphill bits.
Don't do the uphill.
You saw my video the other day, didn't you? I crashed and burned.
You did. I've got so many memories of me just doing a Superman through the air into some ferns or bracken or something.
Do you want to know how I got into mountain biking?
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, when I left the RAF,
I
thought, what am I going to do? And they used to say, a chopped pilot, what do you say to a chopped pilot? A Big Mac and fries, please, because there's nothing else for them to do.
Yeah.
So anyway, I thought, what do I do? I was pretty good at windsurfing, so I went to run a windsurfing shop that also did mountain bikes. So I did that for a little while, and then thought, I'm not going to go anywhere. I need to go somewhere. All I'm going to do is be able to manage windsurfing mountain bike shops. So I decided to have a think and go windsurfing in New Zealand. But one of my mates said, I'll come with you, but I don't windsurf. I do mountain biking. So I sold all my kit, bought a mountain bike, and we went off to New Zealand and cycled around New Zealand.
No way.
And that's how I got into it.
So was that more like trekking, mountain biking on sort of like nice paths, or were you doing any sort of like downhill stuff?
Well, we did a bit of off-road stuff. We went down to, caught a train down to Wellington, and then cycled all the way back up along desert roads, along sort of little trails and stuff like that. Stopped off and did some herding cattle on horseback.
Oh man!
And did that. Great experience. But that's what got me into mountain biking. Bought my first bike.
Have you been back to New Zealand since?
No. My brother emigrated out there and married a Kiwi. Sadly, no longer with us, but he married a Kiwi, and I haven't been out there since.
No, maybe one day. Post-lockdown blues. Maybe one day. Yeah. So you have had a bit of a, dare I say it, a social epiphany, right? You've had a social awakening. Yeah. You had quite you had a bit of a relationship with social media and LinkedIn and all of that's different to what you have now, right?
Yes, I did. I sort of I did the odd post here, the odd post there, but with lockdown, everybody's life is on LinkedIn and social media and that sort of thing. So I just started to post professional sort of stuff. Had a chat with you, and we talked about social media, and you said there's a bit of a science behind it. So I then started posting some personal stuff, and then I've had a go with posting a couple of videos. So I've never done anything like that before.
And do you see a difference in, because one of the things I'm encouraging clients to do and encouraging people that I'm talking to is, did you, I mean, there's a lot of people that feel particularly uncomfortable holding a video up and saying, right, okay, I'm going to make a little movie and just sort of stream of consciousness stuff and all of that. Did it come naturally to you?
No. Well, I mean, the first one I sent to you, didn't I? And just said, what do you think to this? I'm thinking about putting this out, but I think it's a bit rough and ready. But you said, do it. But I think what people appreciate in these times is people's raw self. You know, we're not all dressed up. We're not all suited and booted and that sort of thing. They want you cut back to who you really are, and that's what's behind the CV.
Absolutely, behind the CV. Yeah, exactly. Who's the person behind this CV?
Mm-hmm.
And I guess you've put up a couple of. Just walk us back a little bit. How would you, in a nutshell, sum up your occupational experience to date? Give us the 30-second elevator speech.
30-second elevator pitch. I went from RAF trainee pilot to mountain bike manager to university to ship surveyor to asset integrity manager to operations director to head of asset integrity, and then back to freelance. There's the 30-second. Never did social selling or anything like that, or anything social in that space. It was a bit like when I first went to university. I was a bit of a digiphobe then. My wife said, she said, "Aren't you going to get a computer?" I said, no, I was doing a design course, yacht and powercraft design.
That's what pencils and paper are for.
Yeah, it's all done on drawing boards. You've seen Howard's Way. Yeah, they all do it on drawing boards. And I went there, and they just put us in front of a bank of computers. And so within about 2 weeks, I had a computer, and that was really the start of me getting interested in digital stuff. And then, and now the next leap on, mainly due to lockdown, is the social side, social media. LinkedIn was just a way to look for jobs, but it's a whole new ball game since we've had the lockdown. Totally.
And if it's used properly, it can be an incredibly powerful and sort of collaborative tool for if you're really setting out your stall, if you're working your profile, if you're working on good content, getting great connections and building relationships with those connections. It cuts past all the gatekeepers. It cuts past all the traditional routes to communication and creates a new style of communication, right?
Yeah. It creates a personal link between people. I mean, people really, there's so many people looking for work at the moment. There's so many people. We're not just CVs. The LinkedIn page or the Facebook page or whatever is your showcase. You're showcasing yourself to the world. So that's your opportunity to big yourself up, because nobody else is going to do it. No. So you've got to really be active on it. Get those people to. I'm not one about likes, getting all these likes. It's about the interaction with those people that interact with your post, because they've got a reason that they've made that comment, and so you've got an interaction with them. And it may not lead to a job, it may not lead to a contract, but it will lead to an engagement, maybe a friendship. You're not going to give me a job, are you? But I feel that we're pretty good friends now, and I've never actually met you.
I know, exactly. I'm hoping one day you'll give me a job. That's how this works.
Is it right? Okay.
This is all fake.
I'll rewrite that.
So you moved from using LinkedIn as a reference point, like me many years ago, and many other people in my situation, our situation. LinkedIn was a place you went to have a look at people, have a look at the competition, touch people up for jobs, things like that. It was a thing that you used for a specific purpose on any given day. What are our competitors up to? Let's go and have a little look. What's that guy doing that used to work here? Is he over there now? Oh, that's great. Blah blah blah. And you'd use it as a kind of almost like a kind of little drop in, look behind the curtain, have a little spy, and move out.
He's my best mate from school. What's he doing now? Is he doing better than I am?
Yeah, absolutely. Is he doing better than I am? So did you ever, obviously you never thought back then when you were doing that you'd be posting videos of you falling off your mountain bike and feeding your horse?
No, I didn't intend to fall off it. But no, absolutely. But yeah.
I think it was staged. I think it was a staged fall.
Well, I did put a bald tire on the back of the bike to replicate loss of traction in the industry, and a hardtail for being rigid. So there was a point in the analogy, but I didn't intend to fall off. But I did.
Now that particular post was about your kind of frustration with the recruitment world, right? And I guess there was a link to being more flexible and all of that.
Well, both of those posts. They generated quite a bit of interest, which is why I think we're speaking at the moment. both those posts were not the frustration at the recruitment people, but at the general environment.
Yeah.
The day I wrote the first post, I got a couple of knockbacks of my CV, which CVs get knocked back all the time, but were roles I thought I was pretty good for. So I got a knockback and thought, I didn't even get an interview on that. I could do that job in my sleep, and I didn't even get an interview for it. So why can't they just give me an interview so that they can understand the person behind the CV? And that's where I thought, right, I was walking the dogs and I thought, oh, I'm going to make a post about this. And so that was how impromptu it was. Picked the phone out of my pocket and started talking about things that I'm passionate about and why I go to work. And when I go to work, I try and do a bloody good job, as everybody does. But the reason I go to work is to provide my lifestyle. Everybody, I think, is in survival mode at the moment, so it comes back you notch it back a little bit to provide what you can for your family. But at the end of the day, everybody goes to work to provide a good lifestyle for their family. But in order to improve that lifestyle, you do a very good job so that you can move the ladder. But you also have a lot of fun as well. Go to work, have fun.
You've got to. You've also, it's probably fair to say that you have had the old apologies, Matt. You're either overqualified or overexperienced, or we don't think you're maybe a bit too managerial. You're maybe not going to work hard enough. You've had a few of those.
Same day as well.
Yeah.
You should see the post I didn't put out.
Was that another one of Matt's rants?
It was a rant, yes. It was probably a bit too expletive. It was a case of, you say I wouldn't get down and dirty and wouldn't roll my sleeves up and muck in. Then look at what I've done here. Blah blah blah. The barns behind you, the stables that you can see behind you, behind me. In the picture. I built 6 stables out of reclaimed scaffold boards.
Right.
Double skin stables. The horses live in luxury, better luxury than we do. So I think most of my career, and a lot of people, they will roll their sleeves up and muck in if that's what it takes.
Yeah, absolutely. I must ask, we've got George Reed, he's a previous Crux Castee coming back on. George is a recruitment specialist, employment law specialist and all of that. But he's been in recruitment for years. I must ask him, in fact, mental note, ask George next week, what is that decision process around? So we've got an advert here for a person. We're looking for a person that's an operations management specialist who's been in asset integrity and blah blah blah. What is the process for a CV that comes across the table that absolutely fits, for rejecting that based on a number of factors that we haven't really researched that well? We think this guy's not going to work hard enough because he's been a bit too managerial. I just wondered if there is it just too old, chuck it away, too senior, chuck it away, or is there actually more of a formula? I'd like to think there was more of a formula.
It would be nice to know. I mean, one of the points I think I was trying to make the other day is if you're getting the same fit for a particular CV, you're going to get what you've always wanted. It's the Henry Ford. If you always do what you've always done, you always get what you always got. Sometimes if you a little bit more flexible in approach, which was the second post, was if you're a bit more flexible in your approach and you take somebody that probably just doesn't fit, but they're actually quite an interesting character, then they might not fit the hole, but they may be able to remold that hole and make it their own and take it forward, just like James Bond actors.
Yeah.
Okay. There's James Bond actors. Each of those actors has made James Bond their own.
Yeah.
The character's the same, but they've made the character their own by a little bit of a twist. Roger Moore was the cheesy one. Daniel Craig's the gritty one, etc., etc. People make the jobs their own as well. So the more experiences they bring to the role, the more they're going to be able to make that job their own. And those sort of people are the ones that are going to take businesses forward.
Oh, I like that. Absolutely. Making it your own. Another thing that I know that you're particularly fizzing about is the lack of feedback and response.
You make me sound like a right crabbit old fool, don't you?
Well, I think you probably get good reason for that, because if people, I think you know, it's easy to sit there and say what you think recruitment companies should do or executive search companies should do when you're not in their position. But there has to be a realization, particularly now, right, after the 3 months that we've had, that there are a lot of people who are very scared and very frightened and very concerned about providing for their families in the future, right? So when you send that CV out and you get a little thanks very much, this is great, blah, 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 you're hanging on that. You are absolutely hanging on that. And, you know, they realize, I know they're processing hundreds and hundreds of applications and there might be sort of mass volume involved, but you are dealing with people who right now just even, listen, it's not you this time. They were looking for someone slightly different. Just that little bit of closure, just to allow you to sleep at night, right?
Yeah, we're not having a pop at everybody, but you know, the one that gets me is at the bottom of an application, you'll get, we've got hundreds of applications coming in. We may not, if you haven't heard from us by 2 weeks, then you haven't been successful in the role. That's just a total dismissal. And it's, you know, that those sort of companies are the inhumane ones.
If we don't communicate with you in the slightest and provide any feedback whatsoever, you weren't good enough.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and that leaves you hanging. That leaves your tail right between your legs, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Have you got some special guests coming in to join you?
Everybody's been out, and they're all coming back. So they're all coming back. That'll be Lexi. She's the noisy one.
It's treat time. Treat time. Get the treats out.
That's it.
Yeah. Any thoughts on how this issue with recruiting people who are oddly shaped or oddly aged, or how can it be fixed? What you know, because we're not going to fix it overnight.
No, I think it's a different approach by both parties, the hunter and the hunted. You know, both people have. The industry has to look for. The industry is going to have a lot of people looking for work, so they're going to get the pick of the bunch. So they need to look for those people that are going to bring an additional benefit to a role. The people that are looking for work, you're going to have to work hard to showcase yourself. The CV isn't going to do it. Okay, so
right.
I was shoveling last night, mucking the horses out and shoveling shit. And I was thinking, well, I've done this before, but not necessarily in the horsey arena. And I was thinking, well, why couldn't we have a recruitment company that looked at the person behind the CV? And I was toying the idea: should I set my own up? I've not put a recruitment company together before. I've been a hiring manager. I've done an MBA in specialising in strategy, corporate culture, and human resource management. I've been a job hunter. So how can we do it that would keep it nice and lean? And I'm not touting myself here, but I'm sort of thinking, is there something that companies can do that gets the person behind the CV, because they might learn a thing or two about the candidates, and that may reduce their screening process. So I've been scribbling processes. If I smoked, it'd be on the back of a fag packet, but I don't. So it was it's on some A4 paper. I've scribbled a couple of processes down this morning, thinking, well, is there something that we could do about this? So I was looking at potentially putting together a LinkedIn page as a recruitment page that I haven't formulated it yet.
But it's just an idea, and we need ideas right now, right?
Is there a way that we can get a LinkedIn page together, and I'm going to put one together anyway, that we could get recruiters that want a job to post a job, people that are looking for a job to answer those posts. In between, there'll be something that somebody needs to do, like a WeTransfer upload of a little cast, like I did a minute ago, the other day. The post I did the other day. Is there something that the person behind the CV could get to the potential recruiter? A recruiter is going to have some criteria. How much of a fit do I want to a particular job spec, or how much do I want a flexible person that can pop his head up every now and again, have a look around, mold the job? And you'll get more of that from a down and dirty video post. And it takes 2 minutes for you to get an opinion. People make an opinion on an interview within 30 seconds of you walking in the room.
Absolutely.
So why not do a 2-minute video? to give, so tell people what makes you tick. Tell people why you work, why you go to work, and what you can offer. You don't know which employer you're applying for at the moment. Tell them what you can offer as an employee. You can offer passion, resilience, blah, blah, blah. And tell them that. Tell them what makes you tick. That should go in front of the CV.
And that could also go as part of their LinkedIn profile, right? That's the start of them making
Indeed.
more expressive
Absolutely.
video. I'll send you a link. There's a really interesting one. I think the lady's American. She's an HR director. She's lost her job, and she got a load of people that she respects in the industry to do a little 10 seconds to camera about what's great about her, and she edited it into a film about herself. And it's not all just how great an HR manager she is. It's about how, what she's into, what she likes, and what they like about her, and also some things that she's crap at. But they make a bit of a joke out of it, and it's so powerful. And it's had something like 1,500 likes or something. And it's highly likely that lady will get an interview or interviews out of that with the connections that she makes from that post. It's incredible.
But you made a really good point there about what people are crap at.
Yeah.
Success for me isn't somebody taking a company and pushing it forward and doing brilliant things with it and getting all that margin, etc., etc. Success is what you do in a crisis, how you handle a crisis, how that manager handles the crisis. So when the chips are down, how do you pull that company through? That is a successful manager, not one that can ride the wave on the high, when you're on the crest of the wave.
Yeah, when everything's great.
How you can, when everything's crap, the chips are down. How do you bring that company through? That is a successful manager.
I think there's a bit of the RAF in that, the bedrock, the foundation you had on how to deal with crisis and trouble.
I think probably. I mean, subliminally, probably they take you on the officer training. They take you out in the middle of nowhere, and they get you absolutely knackered, and then they threw in a couple of injects or a couple of surprises, or something's happened here. You've got to change your plan. So you've got to constantly change your shift and think on your feet. So maybe didn't think of it like that.
We've had a couple of ex-army guys on here, so all we need is a Navy guy to get the fight properly going between the forces, right?
That's it.
Steve Beattie, Mike Scotland.
Crux Cast.
Yeah, a four-way RAF army off, without a doubt. Yeah. Forces off. If you do this, if you take this forward, please call it square pegs.
I was doing that. I'm in whether it's going to be square peg or beyond the CV.
Beyond the CV.
I'm ignoring. Maybe, yeah. See, I've already scribbled it down. Or you can't see.
That's invisible to us now. That's just a mountain bike.
That's invisible. That's a magic, isn't it?
Paul Daniels as well. He does magic.
Right angle it. Yeah, it's disappeared.
Yeah, absolutely. So clearly, we're all in a bit of a mess at the moment. There's lots of uncertainty. There's lots of question marks over people's head. If we were Sims, there'd be lots of question marks over the oil industry. In fact, many industries, many sectors, many industries. What do you hope we do better coming out of this? If we've got this new better that we're on about, what do you hope? Obviously, we can't redesign the whole of economy. We can't redesign industries and start again from scratch. But what marginal gains do you think we could do? We've discussed recruitment getting better. What do you think we could get better at?
I think it almost goes back to not recruitment, but hiring companies. There is so much skill and expertise in people. If you look at take the oil and gas industry at the moment, you've got a lot of engineering expertise. You've got a lot of people that are thinking innovatively. You've got emerging clean technologies that are coming through. You've got renewable technologies that require engineering skill, but the two industries, if you like, don't see each other as a viable or an applicant as a viable applicant because he's been in oil and gas and I'm a renewables contractor, or he's renewables and he's an oil and gas and you want to come into oil and gas. There's very few people, I think, that will give people the benefit of the doubt. I mean, Graham Hayward, bless his soul, passed away last year, but he gave me my break in oil and gas. I was in the marine industry,
right.
And he gave me a break in oil and gas, and it was great. And I asked him why, and he said, "Well, you've done all this stuff." And I thought, a military guy, you've done all this stuff in marine. I thought, sounds all right. I'll give him a punt, and he took that risk.
Yeah.
A lot of recruitment is risk averse. Yeah, we don't want to take any risk. We want to. And I'm going back to it. Round peg, round hole. Take a little bit of risk, and you'll reap the rewards. And I just hope that people visualise people coming from other industries as a viable proposition to take a company forward, because it doesn't take people very long to get up to speed in another industry to a level that they can have an intelligent conversation.
I like that. I like that a lot. I think that's a fitting way to end this. It's a good point to leave ringing in people's ears. What's next? Are you allowed to share with us what's next on the post horizon? Any?
I enjoyed doing that mountain biking one so much that I'm going to do another one. And I'm not going to leave you any analogies. I'm just going to cycle down a hill and see what happens. There's a
just slacking some nuts on the front wheel or something like that, just for a fit.
Yeah. I'll send it off to what's his name, Harry Hill, and see if I can get 250 quid out of it.
Superb. Listen, It's been a pleasure. We'll keep looking at what you're doing. We wish you all the best in the future, and we really want to see something happen on this recruitment thing. So all the best with that, and we'll be in touch soon. All right.
Thanks, Eric. Take care.
Thanks, man.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.